Hello there, my name is Police Constable Haywood Percival and I am part of the July Annual Training 2010. This documentary is about the foot and the shoeing of the horse. Now, some of you may be asking why am I filming this when I'm probably sat around about there now. But the reason being is that on previous annual training I've had a lot of criticism for not taking my lectures seriously. This could be my last annual training and I'd like to leave a legacy behind for future mounted men to maybe learn something from an old mounted man. This is my last chance. As the good Sergeant Stevie Dwyer said yesterday, no foot, no horse. This is probably the most serious lecture I've been given, so this is my last chance to get it right. So without further ado, let's go and look at some feet. We're going to start at basics now. We're going to look at the difference between a horse's foot and a human foot. Now we're not talking any old human foot here, we're going to look at a Chief Inspector's foot. And right behind me here is the habitat of a Chief Inspector. Now as we know, Chief Inspectors are creatures of habit. You know the sort of thing, they come into work, they go in their office, they sit in front of the computer screen, pretend to have loads of emails, and then they go home. And this one, as you know, is no different. What this one does do is, about this time every day, he has a shower. It's normally in there about 6 to 7 minutes, so he's due out round about now. Now on previous observations, I have found that the best place of viewing coming out of the shower is this bottom right hand window here. So if we crouch down, we hide behind the roses, get to the window, we should see a great shot of him coming out of the shower. The good thing is when he comes out of the shower, he won't have his glasses on. So follow me, follow me. Alarm, come on. We're going to forget the comparison between the Chief Inspector's foot and the horse's foot. It was a silly idea anyway. So let's just concentrate on the horse's foot. Now I am very proud to announce that with us today we have a very special guest foot. And this is from an iconic figure of the mounted branch, police horse number 62, Billy. You may know him as the famous White Horse of Wembley. This was from the Wembley Cup final of 1923, where there was a massive pitch invasion and Billy the police horse and his rider single-handedly dealt with the situation. Now to my right here we have a beautiful portrait of Billy himself. And what a wonderful horse he is too. But let's concentrate on Billy's foot. And here we are. Now the first question you may ask is, what is this silver bit on the top of his foot? Well, in 1923, this was the days before the police officer was issued with biros. And the police officer, to do his notes, had to rely on the quill pen. Now there was a problem of where do you keep the ink? So in them days, the horse's foot was removable. And if I just lift the top here, you'll notice this little area here, and that's where they used to keep the ink. So the police officer with his quill would dip it in, do his notes, and when finished, put the top back on and replace the foot back on his horse. But let's stick with this foot. This area here, where you see the 62, this shiny area is known as the wall of the foot. The area at the top here is known as the coronet band. Billy's foot has still got his shiny shoe on. At the front of the shoe, this is known as the clip. The front area is known as the toe, the side areas, the quarters, and at the rear, the heel. These little shiny bits here, and that's where the nails was driven in, they are known as clenches. Now, I can turn his foot over. There is no ink in it, so I will not do any spillage. If I turn the foot over, as you can see, we have got the back of the foot here, we have what is known as the bulb of heel. This area here is known as the frog. At the back of it, this little bit here, this is known as the cleft of frog. And this area here is known as the bars. And right in the corner is the seat of corn. Now, because Billy's foot has still got a shoe on, I will just put that on away and I'll replace it with another old foot. Now, as you can see, this isn't as special as Billy's foot, but what I can show you here is this area on the outside. Now, this is the area where the farrier would put the nails in to keep the shoe in position. And right on this area here is an area known as the white line, or sometimes known as the farrier's line. So we turn this up. As you can see, this is a later foot. This was in the days when the police officer was issued with the biro. Anyway, welcome back. Now, to make any good documentary takes time and money. Now, money hasn't been an issue with this documentary, and to emphasise that, we had lined up tomorrow a master farrier who was going to show us around his forge, show us the tools of his trade, show us the difference between hot shoeing and cold shoeing. He was then going to demonstrate the paring of a horse's foot and indeed the fitting of the shoe. However, we do have time problems here. Our course instructor, the lovely Michelle, has demanded that this documentary is finished by tomorrow morning. So unfortunately, we're going to have to cancel the farrier's demonstration. So instead of that, what I'd like to concentrate on now is the responsibilities of the officer whose horse has just been shot. If you would like to turn to page 122 of the Mounted Branch Manual, you will find a heading of the newly shod foot. Now, do excuse me as I read through this. I'm going to read through this because I think there is a tiny flaw in it which we will emphasise later. Let me just go through it. Each officer is responsible for seeing that his or her horse is shod regularly. Although not responsible for the actual shoeing, he or she should take an interest in how the work is done. The horse's feet should be carefully inspected at the conclusion of the shoeing process, and the following points should be checked. That the shoe has been made to fit the foot and not the foot to fit the shoe. The wall should not be rasped to meet the iron. The toe should not be over rasped, dumped as it's known. These faults will remove the surface coat of the wall and will lead to cracking and breaking away of the rasped portions. Now all this is good stuff, and it is true the officer should take a good interest in this. But there is a flaw with this, and I'd like to point this out to you in our next scene. Now, as I've just explained, I do believe there's a couple of flaws in the officer's responsibilities. Picture the scene. My horse was shod this morning. I have a couple of concerns, which I'm about to approach the farrier and ask his opinion. Let's go and do it. Good afternoon, Master Farrier.
What the fuck do you want?
I do believe you shod my horse this morning.
Yeah, what of it?
Well, I've got a couple of concerns. Number one, I'm not sure if the right number of nails was used. And number two, there's a little bit of daylight showing between the foot and the shoe.
Cheeky fuck.
Well, I'm off. Well, there we have it. We've run out of time. It's been emotional. So, until next time, see ya.